should be live. Testing 1 2 3. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm using the microphones on one of my cameras, so hopefully it picks me up okay. Cool, so it's the allotted time. I can see we got Vectrexer, yes, and Michael. Hey Michael, hope you're well. Okay, so let me just put that there. You can see the chat. That's all good. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask as we go, and I will try and answer as many as I can, assuming we get any. So what I've got set up here is the so I've got 2 Vectrexes set up. One's running PiTrex at the moment. We'll also use that for Stramash Zone, and then one's running the VecFever, and then I'll also move the camera around and we can show the PC and the screen for the Commodore 64 as well when we get there. Hopefully everything works okay. It did in testing, but the demo gods need to be kind, and otherwise they'll have some fun with me, I'm sure. So controller, as you saw from my earlier posts, is finished. It's ready for me to put into production. I'm really pleased with it. It's come out exactly as I'd hoped it would, probably better than I hoped it would. It has flashing red light, which you can see on the top of the control panel there, and then there's also a mode select button, and the mode that's active is displayed on the OLED screen that's built into the controller. I've got it at the moment with these extended bars with the suction cups on them, just to give a bit more stability on a nice table. You can take these bars off. You can use the controller on its own, or you can put the suction cups into the base of the controller as well. So there's a few options for kind of keeping the thing stable under heavy use, but it's pretty good. So anyway, I've got it plugged into the PiTrex at the moment, so we can start a game. I've got, thankfully Malvan did a custom version of the Battlezone game for the PiTrex for me, which hopefully will get into his next release, which means that the start button actually does start the game. I've got some odd behaviour with some of the vectors on my display here. I think it's just my setup. I haven't optimised the screen config, but as you can see, the tank moves around. You can go pretty crazy with it. And everything works as it should do. There it is. Ah, got me. You'll also see I'm not a great player. Well, I am if I concentrate. I can't talk and play at the same time. Hey Ross, hope you're well. Thanks for joining. So yeah, so this is the PiTrex version. Get that. So yeah, PiTrex version. It's Battlezone. It works. It's fantastic. And you can go crazy with the controller. Obviously, my table's going to shake around, so I don't really want to do that. So yeah, that's the PiTrex version. So let me just turn that one off, and I'm going to put Stramash Zone in. Put that back on. Now this one actually I didn't try in testing, so hopefully it's working. I've been messing with the software on my controller recently. So we need to go to custom control and then fire to play. Hopefully, oh, it might need to be, actually I think it needs to be in port 1. So the controller is in its current configuration. The controller boots up into PiTrex stroke Stramash Zone mode. There we go. So everything works as it should. I don't have the overlay for Stramash Zone, so I can't. It doesn't look as pretty as it would for folks that have the full game. I was just fortunate that Jim managed to send me a copy of the game on a cartridge, so that I could make sure this works with it. But as you can see, everything works as it should. So there's Stramash Zone. And I even got a tank. Cool. So that's Stramash Zone. So we'll turn that one off for the moment, and we'll go over to the VecFever. Let's just put the display there, camera there, so you can see it. So this one, this needs to be in port 1 again. Oh, this is my fancy, very expensive to make, and wouldn't recommend it for the faint of heart, Vextender, which I'm going to make another one at some point. But I think, as I was saying in one of the comments in the thread where I posted, this thing worked out to be the most expensive port extender I think on the planet, just because the cables are really expensive. And of course I overbuilt it, as I do with most things. So anyway, so for the VecFever, you switch modes into VecFever mode, which is the second mode that the controller supports, and then again it just works. And for those of you that have never seen a VecFever running, Thomas, who created it, did an amazing job with his software and hardware. Everything just runs really well. If you're fortunate enough to ever be able to use one or own one, it's a thing of beauty in terms of the hardware and software design. He really did put everything into it. PiTrex is getting there though. I'm really happy that Malban has been doing some work on it for me, specifically to make sure that the controller was going to work well, but also just in general to improve the game. And I think hopefully it's the controllers that I'm making are rekindling his passion a little bit with some luck, for making it even better than it already is. It's a fantastic mix of hardware and software. So the different modes, Ross. So the different modes, it's difficult to see in this light with this camera. Let me see if I can give you a little bit of a tour of the controller. Apologies for making you feel seasick. So the left hand side, there's a little mode button, and the mode button just switches through the various modes on the controller. So when it boots up into the Vectrex mode, which is PiTrex and Stramash Zone. Then you press the mode button once, it goes to VecFever mode. Press it again, it goes to USB joystick mode. Press it again, it goes to USB keyboard mode. and I'll talk about the keyboard mode in a moment. And then the last one puts it into Atari mode, so that'll work for the 2600 Commodore 64, which you'll see in a minute, and hopefully any other system that uses the Atari joystick mode, or Atari Joystick DB9 configuration. And then the start button is a flashing LED, which in some games, like the PiTrex on the PiTrex Battlezone now, the latest version, the Malban's been done for me, supports that as the start button. It works as start button in the VecFever mode, and on Stramash Zone I can get it to work, because it just needs to be fire button, so I can map it to a fire button if it's not already. I can't remember how I mapped it. So those are the Vectrexes. So let's just turn that one off as well. What we're going to do now is move over to the PC, and then we can show you some other fun stuff. So if I do this, and hopefully don't knock my camera over. So I'll sort out the lighting in a moment if we need to. Right. So on the PC, so on the back of the joystick, you've got obviously the DB9 cable, but there's also a USB socket. It's the sort of one you'd get on a printer. The reason I chose that particular type of connector is it's really robust. So if it gets used a lot, it won't cause any issues, unlike the sort of smaller micro USB ones. So you need the right cable for this. So now you plug it in, it just powers up from the USB. You select either the USB joystick or keyboard mode. I'm going to do MAME first. I'm using USB joystick mode for this. USB keyboard mode, what it does is it emulates up, down, left, right arrow keys and left control for fire, and then it maps the joystick movements to the combination of those, and obviously fire button triggers the left control key. So if we fire up MAME, yeah, thanks Ross. Yeah, unfortunately I'm old, so I've collected a lot of stuff over the years. And this computer, actually, my current desktop machine, I built during the pandemic and spent far too much money on it, back when I was working and had money. So in here, it uses, on MAME, it uses the, actually I wonder if I can, maybe not. On MAME, on the input devices, it's using direct input, so that's how it presents in there. So let's fire up Battlezone. And then on the input settings on the game itself, it's just using the joystick. So right stick up is joystick 1 up, joystick 1 down, etc. So what happens is in USB joystick mode, the right stick is joystick up and down, left stick is joystick left and right, and then button 0 is the fire button, button 1 is the player start button. That's that. So let's go there. 5 to coin up, hopefully, and then should be able to start. So hopefully you can see this. Let's see if I can shut the window. Make it a little bit darker. There we go. Playing with the joystick off centre of the screen. As you can see, I'm not very good at playing games. I just enjoy playing them. I enjoy more making stuff though. So as you can see, it works really well. there's Battlezone. Arcade ROMs on main with the controller, and then the right joystick up and down as it is for the arcade one, because it's running the arcade ROMs here, and fire to select when you're putting your name in. There we go. That's a quick demo of that. And then the last thing I'll show you on the PC is Battlezone 2. So Battlezone 2 is a game created by Peter Hirschberg, and yeah, I'm there. He pinged me a few weeks ago when he saw what I was doing in terms of making the controller, and said, "Oh, could you make sure that works with my game?" So we've been chatting and made sure that it will work with his game. It's a fantastic game for a sort of a faster version of Battlezone, basically. So yeah, so it looks like Battlezone. There's a bit of colour. You shoot stuff, you collect power-ups. It's got some nice sound effects and sort of background music. And as you get up to the level, so you've got shields, so you can withstand some hits, and then you can collect shields if you need them to top your shields up. And then, oh, there's also these jeeps that go zooming around, but they're not very good and they tend to crash into things. They don't fire at you though. Yeah, so let's see, I'm withstanding some and seeing my shields going down. At the moment it's only giving me shields as power-ups, but there are other things. So oh, here we go. So these are rockets. So rockets are guided rockets. So what you can do with these is, once you can see the thing, you just fire and it targets the thing that it can see. Then you get these other type of tanks. These ones are a bit more aggressive. But again, the rocket takes them out. And then what happens is, as you get further into it, it basically just starts dumping a lot more enemies on the playfield at once. So you end up with a pretty full playfield. And there are other things you can pick up. I think there's like rapid fire rockets, shots you can get. Oh, and then there's also these red glowing things on the ground which are mines. And then one of the other nice things you can do is, if you hit one or the start button, it puts it into this third person mode, so you can actually see what's going on, which is really cool. So I've just picked up rapid fire rounds, so you can see that these things are rockets. Now these are good. So the rockets though, in this mode, you can see them tracking as they fire, which is really cool. And I'm almost out of shield, so one more here and I'm going to be dead. There we go. So that's Battlezone 2, fantastic game. And he's also working on a Tempest 2 at the moment, which is again an incredible reimagining of Tempest. Plays really well and yeah, adds some new features. So that's that. And then last but not least, we'll go over here and you'll see, unplug that there. So for the Atari mode, I've been using my little mini C64 that my kids got me for my Christmas a few years ago, and I've added a DB9 socket in because it uses a funky USB joystick. But I've added a DB9 so I can use my controller on there and use it for testing. So we're going to plug that in there. We're going to grab some power and put that in. That might help, I think. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to switch that over. to there. We're going to put it into Atari mode. And then what we can do is go here, load Battlezone. And this is Commodore 64 Battlezone. I imagine, just looking at, I've not played Battlezone on the Atari 2600 for a long time, but from memory it looks pretty similar to this. So, 5 button on there to play. So yeah, very blocky graphics, but it works. So the Atari mode is proved that it works. Obviously the graphics aren't as good as you get on modern systems, but it's still a fun game. And in some ways even more difficult, because it's difficult to see the enemies further off. It's only when you get closer that you tend to actually see what's going on, otherwise it just looks like a block. But it is a little bit more lenient with the shots. You don't have to be reasonably close to get them. It's certainly not as pixel accurate. So yeah, there we go. That's the full range of things that it works with that I've tested so far. Yeah. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Yeah, the mini ROS, I've had to, let me unplug it and I'll show you what I've had to do. So the mini doesn't have a DB9 socket. So what I've done, I've hacked the controller, get some light in here. I basically hacked my controller and added a DB9. And just soldered the pins onto the points on the. They're actually, the nice thing about the design of this when you open it up is the PCB inside these joysticks has got some little points on their solder pads, so you can do this easily. I just had to cut a little bit of a hole in the casing. I could have cut a bigger hole and mounted it properly, but I didn't need to go that crazy with it. Hey, Mike Kennedy. Yeah, so yeah, that's how I'm using it on that. On a real C64, obviously you've got a DB9 socket, as you would on the Atari ST and the Atari 2600. I'm just using my mini because that's all I had available to me. I didn't have any friends handy that had any of those systems that I could go and see quickly that were close. But it does work, which is good. Hey, you're welcome. My pleasure. So, any other questions from anyone? So on the controller, as well, I'll just show you. So yeah, the screen and everything. Yeah, these legs are really just one of the options to give you a bit more stability if you're going to go crazy with it. So there are these suction cups that screw into the legs. You can take the legs off. They're just M5 bolts, and I will be supplying an Allen key, suitable sized Allen key, with each controller anyway. And then what you're left with is just the mounting holes. So what you can do is you can either use the controller without any of these attachments on, and it's got some little rubber for you on the bottom there. You can take the suction cups and actually screw those into these mounting holes, so then you end up with the suction cups on the controller itself, which is pretty good actually on a nice tabletop. That works pretty well. But if you're going to go really crazy with it, that's why I provide these arms as well. They're the longest I can make them with my printer, unfortunately. But yeah, then you can mount these on, or you can just leave them off and just use it as is. It's pretty easy to do that, but it gives you a couple of stability options there, depending on kind of your style of gameplay and how crazy you want to go with it. I think you probably, most of you, if not all of you, would have seen my video I put out where I had it on my worktop in the kitchen, was going really mental with it. that was a slightly earlier version of the controller, but no less robust. And I still couldn't break it even after going crazy with it. So yeah, so that's what I've built. I'm just finalising the bill of materials for all of this, so I can actually see what these things cost me, which they're not a cheap thing to put together, I'll tell you that. Yeah, cocktail table should be okay, as long as you've got a decent top on it. If it's the original top, you're probably okay. If you've got an aftermarket cheaper piece, I've not tried those, Ross. That's a good point. I could try that with. I could try it with MAME for sure. So yeah, I can let you know on that one. I hadn't thought about other twin stick games. It all depends on their control scheme. So if they're twin stick and need more than forward backward motion, then you're in trouble. Oh cool. Yeah, I've got an aftermarket piece of non-toughened glass on my Asteroids cocktail at the moment. I've got the original one, it's just really scratched up. Yeah, I'll try, I'll see what other twin stick games there are. If they're just using twin stick forward backwards, so maybe Red Baron might be one. That would probably work. But yeah, that's the limitation, is they're just literally forward backward movement, so no 4-way or more than that. They're just 2-way with a single fire button. But yeah, any other games that are in that ilk should work in theory. And then if there's any games that need a slightly different control scheme, I can update the software on these things now. So that's one of the things I didn't show you. I think I put a video in the channel, or on my YouTube. I can't remember. So the other thing you can do with this is you can put the controller into update mode. Update mode basically just then presents it as a USB drive onto the PC, and then you can just drop a software package into it. So if I had extra functions or any fixes or whatever in the future, folks will be able to upgrade their controller software really easily, which is a huge bonus for me, because it means if I need to make changes further down the road, it's possible. So yeah. Cool. Right. If there are no other questions, I'll give folks a minute or so if they've got any other questions, but otherwise thanks for joining, it means a lot to me. I'm going to put out, yeah, like I said, I'm working on finalising the bill of materials and what these things cost me to make, so I can sort out what the sell price is going to be. I'll do all that over the next day or so, and then ping something out into the groups and various channels and stuff, let you guys know what it's going to cost. It's not a cheap controller, unfortunately. There's a lot in these things, as you would have seen from my other posts and videos. Yeah, there's a lot of components in this thing. At the moment there's about 29 hours of printed parts that go into it as well, and then things like the joystick shafts. The joystick shafts actually the only thing I outsourced in terms of the manufacture. The rest of it I'm doing myself, other than obviously PCB manufacture, so I'm getting the PCBs made to my design, and then I'm building them up from there, so I'm putting all the components on. Joystick shafts, so I got a local engineering firm to make for me to my design, so they're a really nice finish as well, very robust. Cool. Yeah, I hope there's a long list of potential buyers. So this one, like my Lunar Lander controller, the standard edition of the Lunar Lander controller, this is the standard edition for this controller. So this is it. This is what you would get if you bought the standard edition. I may do some limited editions at some point. I haven't even thought about it yet, because there's only so much scope to make it any different, other than sort of changing colours and stuff. But this is the standard controller. When it ships, it'll come with these arms with a set of rubber suction cup feet and all the fixings and the Allen key you need to fit it on, and yeah, that's basically all you need. The only thing I might change, or I am going to change, based on this design, is I'm going to be experimenting when the order comes in, hopefully next week. I've ordered in some glow in the dark filament for the graphic on the top panel here. So I'm going to try that next week at some point when it arrives. And if that comes out well, then that's the only difference that there'll be from this to the ones that ship. Will be this logo on the top face, maybe in glow in the dark filament. If it works out well, I'm hoping it does, because it should look really cool. Dark Star version. So this is the Dark Star version because it's dark. The other, so in terms of colour, I might do like a green one, sort of army green, at some point. We'll see, because the filament I'm using on the casing now is carbon fibre infused PLA, which adds a few pounds to the cost, but the finish is really nice. It's worth it for the finish compared with regular PLA. The challenge with that is there's only a limited colour range that's available in the carbon fibre infused PLA that I use. So they do a green one, which hopefully will work out. But at the moment they're all going to stay black. Yeah, and they'll all have the flashing start button light. So that comes as standard. So yeah, cool. Okay, folks, awesome. Thanks again, all of you, for joining and the questions, Ross. You're really cool. If anyone's got any other questions, you can always ping me. You know where to find me. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll try and do, for the US folks, I'll try and do another one of these on the weekend, because I realise this is kind of middle of your afternoon, so a little difficult for some of you. If you're watching this on catch up later, I'll do another live one on the weekend, and then you'll have a chance to ask more questions there as well. But otherwise, yeah, just post comments on the video later if you want, and I'll answer any questions that come up there. Awesome. Right, thanks guys, have a good evening.